Good afternoon, and today what we are looking at are back-to-back stem and leaf plots. So as you can see here, the question there has 21 pieces of data from two different groups, the Australian and Japanese tourists, and what the data is comparing are the number of nights they spent away from home in the last year. Alright, so what we need to do, the question asks us to construct a back-to-back stem and leaf plot for each of these data sets. Now, the thing about this data set is that what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create a back-to-back plot, and then we're going to need to have some groupings. So we're going to first of all create our stem. Use a darker color here. So this is the stem. This is going to run down the entirety of our thing here. So we're going to start with 0, 1, 2, and 3. Because I do not see any first digits. Oh, yes, I do. There's a 4 there as well. Alright, so on my left, I'm going to have the Aussies. And then on the right, I'm going to have the Japanese. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to put this data into my stem and leaf plot. Now remember that right now it's not sorted. So I'm going to just put these in the order they come in and then move on to the next piece of data. Now as you're doing this, if you're doing this in your book, maybe you want to put a pencil line through it. So for me, what it's going to be is, okay, I'm going to go, so the first number is 3, so that would come over here. Then the next one is 14, so I would put a 4 in the ones row. 15, 3 again, 6, 7, 2, 7, 4, 8, 3, 5, 7, 21, 9, 11, 11, 33, 4, 5, and 3. As you can see, I've run out of room here. So it'll hopefully be better when I sort it all out. But for now, I'll also do the Japanese one as well. So I've got there 14, 3, 14 again, 7, 22, 5, 15, 26, 28, 12, 22, 29, 23, 17, 32, 5, 9, 23, 6, 44. No, that's in the wrong spot. 44, and then the last one being 19. So now what you would do is you would go through each of these groups and you would then sort them out. So what I would generally do is I would generally start a second one. You might want to just erase yours, whatever works for you. So again, Oz, the stem, and then the Japanese. I'm gonna have to write a little bit smaller so I know what I'm doing. But as I'm sorting these, I am going to cross them off my list. So I'm gonna have a bit more room now that I know what sort of numbers I'm dealing with and how big they are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now I would rule these if I was doing this in a workbook. So I'm going to go through 0, so my first number is going to be 2, cross it off there. I have 3 3s, cross those 3s out. I have 2 4s, I have 2 5s, a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. Alright, so that's all those done. And then down here I have 11, 11, 4, 5, 7. Then I have 21. And 23. Then I have the 33, and then I have nothing in my last one here. And then for the Japanese, much easier because it's already sort of, you don't have to think backwards, you can just go smallest to largest. 3, 5, 5, 6, 7, 9. 2, 4, 4, 5, 7, 9. Those are 4s. And then we have 2, 2, 3, 3, 6, 8, 9, 2, and then 4. So now that I've put all that data in there, I can get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move this up because now we need to do some maths with it. Now, that's what a back-to-back stem and leaf plot for this would look like. The next question is determine the median and IQR for each of these two distributions. All right, so what we've got here are 21 numbers on either side, which means that if I want to find the median, I need to find the 21 plus 1 over 2 position. So in this case, it's going to be 22 over 2, which is 11. So I need to find the 11th number. So, starting with my red pen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my median is going to be 8. And then on the Japanese side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 7. So, now, one of the things that is missing from my thing is a key. So what you guys need to do, so your key would be on this side, 0-3 would just be 3. But on this side, the stem is on the right-hand side. So if I went 1, 7, 7, so that's 7 line 1, make that a little clearer. 7 line 1 is actually just 17. Alright, make that clear when you're doing these back-to-back stem and leaf plots. So, in here, median on this side is 8. So now that I have the medians, I now need to find Q1 and Q3. So, how many numbers do I have above and below my median? Well, if I had 21, I now should have 10 above and 10 below. Alright, and if I'm going to do 10 above and 10 below, that means I need to find the number in the 5th and a half position. Luckily for the Australians, the 5th and 6th position are both 4. So, Q1 is just 4. And then for Q3, it's going to be the top half of my data. And it's going to be halfway between those. So I'm going to need to find the 5th and 6th number here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 6, so it's going to be between 15 and 17. Well, that makes it nice and easy. Q3 is equal to 16. And then on the left-hand side, top half of my data, 5th and a half position, it is between 7 and 8. That means that my Q1 is just going to be 8, and my Q3 is going to be 3, 4, 5, halfway between 23 and 26. So Q3, halfway between 23 and 26, is going to be what? It's going to be 24.5. Alright, because there's 3 units difference between 23 and 26. Half of 3 is 1.5. Add 1.5 to the lower one or subtract it from the top half. Alright, so now I have these two things, which means that I can now calculate my IQR. So the IQR for the Australian data is 12, but for the Japanese is 13.5. So, write a report comparing the distributions of the number of nights spent away from home by Australian and Japanese tourists in terms of centre and spread. So, first things first. The median for the Australians was only 8, but the medians for the Japanese was 17. So the centre on the Japanese was much higher. And what it also tells us is that the Australian data is much more compact together because the IQR is much smaller, whereas the Japanese is much more spread out. Alright, that's possibly because the Japanese have a lot of holidays. So they want to go and spend time away. Alright, but we're not writing a report about that. We're simply talking about the centre and the spread. Alright, so in this case, the centre is our median and our spread is a measure of the IQR. The IQR of 13.5 means that the data is much more spread out compared to the 12 for the Australians.